Hello, everyone. I'm Mystery.
And I am Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator, and we are the Duality of Man. Apparently, you don't put communists in charge of nuclear power plants, and you don't leave ideologically possessed diversity hires in charge of the Louvre. Who knew? Except
There's
everyone
a
with
reason.
any common sense whatsoever.
There's a reason why things like law enforcement, security have always been typically regarded as a man's job, but it's not out of sexism. It's just men are more capable of doing these jobs, and apparently not just in the physical enforcement aspect of it, but also apparently in the planning stages, because this was just a mess from top to bottom.
Although it must be said that women who weren't ideologically possessed cretins and actually earned their positions probably would be beneficial in any case. But
Yeah.
Karen
So
Murphys are in short supply, unfortunately. Wish we had more of them.
But to get into what we're talking about, on Sunday, I believe it was early Sunday morning, the crown jewels of France was stolen out of the Louvre, and it included a number of very historical pieces. Now, according to things that I've read, the original crown jewels of France, from dating all the way back to the medieval period, were apparently destroyed in the French Revolution. But these newer pieces were, I believe, commissioned during the Napoleonic era.
Yeah, they were Napoleon's imperial jewels, basically.
Yeah, so it's still very historically significant, and they've been stolen, which is a tragedy.
And probably destroyed because they can't remain whole in their distinctive form, or else they would immediately be caught. So they're probably going to recut them into smaller gems so that they can liquefy them, so to speak. And
So I'm gonna play this
it's a
video.
damn shame.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play this video from Akkad Daily. Let's get started.
Yep.
Probably aware of the heist at the Louvre at this point. I'll quickly go through what happened because it's really fun to have a kind of classic old worldy Michael Caine style heist, isn't it? Most things that happen.
Was Michael
No, I
Caine known for heist movies?
hmm?
Was Michael Caine known for being in heist movies? I haven't seen a lot of Michael Caine films.
I I can't think of any off the top of my head. I assume Sargon knows better, being as he is an Englishman and what have you. But most of my knowledge of Michael Caine came from when he was older, like around the time he was playing Alfred in the Christopher Nolan movies and so on. So
Yeah.
maybe in his younger days there was some mini fad of Michael Caine heist movies that I'm not aware of.
When I think of heist movies, I mainly think of things, like George Clooney, Ocean's 11 type deal.
Yeah, the type of movies that were parodied in that one episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, but they're enjoyable films. I enjoy them.
They're it's the very essence of a fun popcorn action movie, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Happen in the digital world now are just virtual and online. Oh no, someone hacked 100 billion worth of bitcoins out of someone's account. So okay, but nothing really happened. Just numbers went somewhere or something like that. No, this is like a
Yeah, it
proper
doesn't
old
have
school
the
heist.
it doesn't have the like mystique of a national treasure. That's probably my go-to when I think of heist movies is the National Treasure series or like the Robert Langdon series with Tom Hanks. Those are the kind of movies I think of when we think of these kind of thriller puzzle
I don't usually
things.
think of them as I don't usually think of them as heist movies, more of adventure movies.
Hmm. Although, I mean, the main plot of the first National Treasure was they had to steal the Declaration of Independence because it had a map on it or something. I haven't seen National Treasure in a while. I should revisit those
The
at some point.
the planning and execution of that heist was very cool though. in National
And
Treasure. That was my
that's
favorite
the
part.
sad thing about the Louvre heist. I agree with Sargon in that it would be nice to see like an Ocean's 11 or National Treasure style scenario, but that would the like romantic mystique of that is some, crafty cabal of criminals has to be really super savvy and defeat all of the security measures and shit. Whereas in this case, the security measures were just sort of removed for reasons, and ideologically possessed bureaucratic reasons at that. So a lot of the mystique is gone. They didn't. It's not like they had to have a here's the plan montage type scenario like you always see in the Ocean's 11 type movies. They just they just walked in, broke some of the glass of the display cases because these display cases weren't armored for some reason, and yoinked them. That sort of takes a lot of the wind out of the sails here.
Yeah, well, like with an Ocean 11 or National Treasure type heist, you can admire the intelligence and skill and craftiness that was required in order to pull it off. Like,
To thwart the
there
security
is merit
measures.
to their, yeah, there is merit to their skills and intelligence, but this one, like, there was no requirement for any of that, and it's more just a sad state of the security of the Louvre than any sort of intelligence or skill on the part of the thieves themselves.
Yeah, and as someone who is a Francophile, it pisses me off that apparently the security at the Louvre is below your standard like Zales store in today's day and age. Because
Yeah, and
even the Zales stores have like pressure sensitive glass and like cases that will automatically trigger a silent alarm when they're fucked with, and so on. So like this is just
hell, I would have expected at the very least shatterproof glass on the case.
yeah, this is just sad. This isn't some crafty like mastermind villain here. This is the average person who might try to rob a Zales or a K Jewelers, but for some reason the Louvre has no more security than a Zales or a K Jeweler type store, which is just sad.
Yeah, I could actually appreciate a sort of Arsène Lupin gentleman thief if they broke into the Louvre and stole something. It'd still be a crime, but at the very least they'd be clever about it. This is just more pathetic
Yeah,
on the
it's
part
not
of the
it's not like we need to dust off Inspector Clouseau to bring in these folks. We just needed competent security staff, but apparently competent security staff is ideologically haram according to intersectional feminism in today's day and age. Wah 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 wah.
All right, so I'm going to continue.
Yep.
Turn to tradition, as it were. And so it's actually really, really interesting and rather amusing. And the reason this was possible, well, you guessed it, it was feminism and diversity hiring. So this is the BBC telling us everything we know about the Louvre jewelry heist. And again, it just seems kind of old world, right? So thieves wielding power tools broke into the world's most visited museum in broad daylight before escaping on scooters with 8 extremely valuable items of jewelry. The gang reportedly arrived at 9:30 local time, shortly after the museum opened to visitors. 4 suspects arrived with a vehicle-mounted mechanical lift to gain access to the Gallery of Apollo, which is on the 2nd floor. Pictures from
Vehicle mounted mechanical lift, so like a cherry picker.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of vehicles they like when they say scooters. For some reason, I'm picturing like the classic like mobility scooters and stuff. So I hope it's not that.
I was picturing mopeds.
Just because I would like there to be a little bit more mystique in the scenario. But at this point, it really is looking like the kind of plot you wouldn't even see in an Ocean's 11. It seems like the kind of plot that would be a parody of Ocean's 11 in like a Paul Blart Mall Cop sequel or something.
The fact that they did it in the daylight with no distractions, just busted in like by force, and, and then just broke the glass and stole the crown jewels of France. Like there's got to be like several critical points of failure in this security.
Isn't Paris one of the most surveilled cities on the face of the earth? Like
Possibly, I know London is.
I think London beats them out, but only just barely.
Because you got to think there's got to be like physical, like actual man security in there, right? I mean, I would be expecting it at the very least.
But again, this is a security force that is headed by several diversity hires, so they might have they might have drummed out all of the big scary security personnel on the grounds of toxic masculinity or some shit.
Possibly, but well, someone's getting fired.
Hopefully, a lot of
On the scene,
someone
it shows
like this again. Like the Louvre, one of the greatest museums on the face of the earth, got taken down by a Paul Blart sequel level of plot here.
I mean, the Louvre has been robbed before in the past, but I mean,
But
I'm
it
pretty sure
but it
even
was the
then,
aforementioned like very crafty criminals knowing how to thwart all of the highly intricate security measures. It wasn't some guys used a cherry picker to access the second story window, used some glass cutters, used some further glass cutters on the cases and yoinked them and sped away on either mopeds or mobility scooters, depending on what scooter means in this context.
I mean, also, I think the brazenness of doing it in daylight, they didn't even feel the need to do it under cover of darkness to aid in their escape.
Yeah, it wasn't a we're going to meet there at like 3 in the fucking morning after all the guards have went. No, we're just going to show up as soon as the museum opens, yoink them and leave.
the ladder leading up to the first floor window. Two of the thieves got inside by cutting through the window with power tools. They then threatened the guards, who have
Okay, so there were guards, and they threatened them. But shouldn't the guards be armed?
And or shouldn't the guards be like the sort of ex-military dudes who can handle themselves under pressure of being threatened?
I mean, this is
Like
the Louvre. I know they have the money to afford decent security guards.
this is again one of the like top 5 museums on the face of the bloody earth, and apparently they're being staffed by the sorts of people you make fun of in like Rent-A-Cops scenario. Or alternatively, the diversity hire at the top of the hiring pool hired a bunch of her friends nepotistically, because it's not like anyone would ever actually break into the Louvre. It's the Louvre. We can totally fake this through by sheer reputation. Oh wait, no, that went horribly wrong. Who could have seen this coming? It's almost as though security measures are there for a fucking reason or something.
So it says that the guards evacuated the premises. So they just like got the most like bottom of the barrel, pathetic, like old guys with donuts you can imagine.
Uh, Or middle-aged women having benefited from diversity hiring, depending.
Entirely
Again,
plausible. Not
like I'm all for competent female security personnel, as and when you can find the occasional Karen Murphy, but it really does have to be like meritocratically enforced that if you get a female security guard, it does have to be like Ripley from Alien, Sarah Connor post T2, or Karen Murphy from Dresden Files levels of woman at that point.
yeah, they're gonna be powerlifting in their free time.
Yeah, like the kinds of women who could beat up most men are rare. They do exist, however. Like get get the like French equivalent of Ronda Rousey in there if you're gonna hire women. because just because we're doing diversity hiring doesn't mean we have to forego meritocracy. Except, oh wait, I forgot meritocracy is a harmful delusion we have to deprogram people out of for ideological reasons. Womp.
Evacuated the premises and cut through the glass of 2 display cases containing jewels. A preliminary report has revealed that 1 in 3 rooms in the area of the museum raided had no CCTV cameras, according to French media. Wow, that's incredible. Police say the thieves were inside for 4 minutes and made their escape on 2 scooters waiting outside at 9:38 a.m. This is
4 minutes in and out.
Yeah, the plot of a Mission Impossible movie, this is not. It's literally, hey, why don't we go to the museum tomorrow and yoink some jewels in broad daylight in front of everyone? Like, this is the kind of story that should have resulted in, like, a fails compilation a la America's Funniest Home Videos or Jackass, is what they should, like, these 2 idiots should have thought this, like, getting drunk on Saturday night and thought to themselves, we can totally do that tomorrow. And they shouldn't have been successful. They should have immediately just been, like, nicked in the space of, like, even getting into the premises. They should have had to go through, like, metal detectors to even get into the building or some shit. Surely modern day France is one of those, like, modern day Paris is one of those cities where you want there to be, like, the metal detector as you go in or some shit.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, most security measures, like a lot of places that have very valuable items and high security, their security measures are so tough that it actually acts as a deterrent against thieves. Whereas these security measures barely seem to slow them down at all. And I know some people are going to say, "Well, they had power tools," but you could absolutely get protections in there that would resist power tools. And I've seen glass that have resisted buzzsaws and drills and shit before.
Yeah, like, there are literal bulletproof glasses that you can get, and even tougher than that. There are some glasses that you can't access with a blowtorch. And even if they did manage to access them, it should have immediately triggered either a pressure alarm or a temperature alarm or just movement alarm. I've seen a lot of those, like, movement sensitive ones where if you tamper with them, it immediately sets off the silent alarm. The gendarmerie should have just been like, they should have been on the case as soon as they left the building or some shit. It should have been they get the jewels and then immediately walk, like, run into a wall of, like, policemen in paratrooper armor or some shit. Like, it should have triggered, like, a SWAT team's worth of big burly dudes ready and willing and able to BTFO them.
This is a very painful episode for France, says Nathalie Goulet, a member of the French Senate's Finance Committee.
And that's another thing to consider because France really has been taking it in the teeth the last decade or so. Like the whole migrant crisis thing, the attacks in their like cities and provinces like Nice, um, the riots that have been going on. There was also that big insult to a lot of Christians in the world at the Paris Olympics, where they had that like gay trans. I don't know if it was trans,
Yeah,
but it was like
the like
and all that.
Dionysian bacchanal that had Christian imagery involved in it, so that it pissed off the Christians. Derp.
Yeah, and now their first crown jewels were destroyed by the communists, and now these crown jewels have been stolen and almost certainly destroyed to be sold off.
Because of diversity hiring. So, in other words, second verse same as the first. When the French decide to go full ideologue, this is the kind of shit that happens. And I love France. I've always been a Francophile, but you're not beating the French are a bunch of useless pansies allegations on this one, folks. anyone who knows French history knows the French apparently have two extremes they oscillate between. We we would not defend ourselves against a rabbit that was trying to mug us, and then on the other extreme, the we will go into violent guillotine-ridden rivers of blood revolution over the minorest thing. I hate to be this guy, folks, but if you were planning on a violent revolution, a la the old 17th or the old 18th century one, that's probably the more constructive mode in this instance because you're being slowly but surely invaded by Muslim terrorists, just like the rest of Europe, and apparently your institutions have been diversity whacked. So yeah, if you guys want to make the transition between useless artsy pansy to violent revolutionary, now would be, or actually no, like days before this would have been the time. But que sera sera. Since the French only
Yeah.
have the two modes, I suggest you migrate towards the more useful one eventually here, please. For
Also,
your own
tourists.
good, and as someone who loves France and wants to see France still exist long enough for me to visit it someday, please go violent revolutionary. If you only have these two options, the violent revolutionary option has begun, is what I'm saying.
And also, apparently, tourists who are visiting the Eiffel Tower getting swarmed by third world scammers trying to sell them useless fucking trinkets. And also, apparently, somebody stole Durandal.
They stole Charlemagne's magic fucking sword.
I thought it was Roland's sword. I thought Charlemagne's sword was joyous.
Oh, okay, yes. I stand corrected. But they stole what is essentially France's Excalibur.
Yes, someone did.
I just it's idiotic morals all the way down. How fucking dare you? There there are times where I wish I lived in the Dresden Files universe, and this is definitely one of them. Because if the Knights of the Cross actually existed, we know it would at least be in better hands than apparently French bureaucracy can manage.
We're all disappointed and angry. It's difficult to understand how it happened so easily. Apparently, the gallery's localized alarm was recently broken, and we have to wait for the investigation in order to know if the alarm was deactivated. The museum's wider alarms did sound, and staff followed protocol by contacting security forces and protecting visitors.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna make sure I heard that correctly. The gallery's localized alarm was recently broken. We have to wait for the investigation in order to know if the alarm was disactivated. Was it broken before they broke in? Did they know the alarm
Or
was broken before?
or did they break it? Or did it break for some random reason and they just got lucky? Given the sheer incompetence on display, I'm almost leaning towards the third option of they didn't know anything about the alarms, they just got lucky, because that seems to be the headline in this particular comedy of errors. But like,
I mean, but that's
maybe, just maybe, they had a little bit more common sense or like thief practicality than we gave them credit for just a minute ago. Maybe. Or alternatively, it broke weeks ago and no one had the wherewithal to think maybe we should get that fixed relatively quickly.
I think it's possible that they did have an inside man that broke it. But here's the thing: if people were aware that the alarm was broken, you should have redoubled security. Possibly had a couple cops sitting outside.
And given that the Louvre is one of the most financially lucrative museums on the face of the earth, you probably should have allocated resources and monies in order to fix the alarm because, security alarms aren't just there for shits and giggles, they're there for practical fucking reasons, don't you know?
It says France's cultural ministry said the museum's wider alarms. The localized alarms were disabled, but the wider alarms did sound, and staff followed protocol by contacting security forces and protecting visitors. But we saw in the previous part of the article that when they were confronted by the criminals themselves, they freaking surrendered. I'm not going to make a French joke on that.
No, it's warranted. Again, the French have two modes. We surrender at the drop of the tiniest possible beret, or ri- rivers of blood shall run through the streets because the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots and etc. Again, as someone who very much wants there to still be a France long enough for me to visit France, please switch to the other one soon, guys, because this is getting like the French are not beating the allegations on this one, and it annoys me. I want to be I want to be a Francophile. Please stop making it so fucking hard for me to do so.
Well, there's been public unrest and riots like for years now, but doesn't seem to have improved the situation all that much.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like those riots have been the "we throw rotting skunks in your general direction" variety from Holy Grail. I'm not saying it's time to break out the guillotines, but maybe someone should be entertaining that it's time to break out the guillotines, given that the French only have those two modes. The second mode is necessary. It would be more applicable to the situation than the one you guys are currently in. It's like the Germans. While I hope that the Germans don't go full nationalist this time because well we all remember what happened the last time. It's still preferable probably to the white guilt thing. So like if you absolutely must only have two options, switch to the second one, please.
Forces in protecting visitors. The gang tried to set fire to their vehicle outside, but were prevented by the intervention of a museum staff member. Footage of the theft showed the masked robbers calmly entering and smashing display cases containing the jewels. No one was injured. The thieves seemed to be experienced and had a well-prepared plan to flee on two scooters. 60 investigators are working on the case, and the search is on for 4 suspects, and they're studying CCTV footage. 8 items were
Okay,
taken
so
in
the
total,
thieves were
a tiara
calm.
and
It
brooch.
wasn't even like a quick we've got to get out of here. It was a we'll just saunter in at any old point and just yoink these because reasons.
Let's take a look at what was stolen. A tiara and brooch belonging to Empress Eugenie, wife of Napoleon III, an emerald necklace and a pair of emerald earrings by Empress Mary, Marie Louise, a tiara and necklace and single earring from the sapphire set that belonged to Queen Marie Amelie and Queen Hortense, and a brooch known as the reliquary brooch.
That's just sad. Like knowing what like 18th century French craftsmen were like, and knowing how unspeakably beautiful these things must have been, it is a crime against humanity that these things were probably destroyed so that they could be reduced to their like raw materials and sold for scrap.
Why is it a single earring from the sapphire set? Was there only one, or did they just not grab the other one in the pair?
Uh, Aristocrats did have a thing about wearing like single earrings back then, so maybe it was just there was only one, or maybe they just grabbed whatever they could and decided to skedaddle. Given that this apparently like this whole incident only lasted like 4 minutes.
Yeah. And it's been days since the robbery, so chances are they're never going to retrieve these.
Yeah, again, it's a crime against humanity that something of such impeccable artistry and value is just no more because some fucking some assholes who probably got drunk the previous night and were bullshitting about this over drinks decided that they were going to dismantle some of the most beautiful jewelry in existence and reduce it to its raw materials so they could sell it for scrap. I mean, there's a part of me that hopes some like off the books art collector was like, "Don't touch them. I will buy them as is." But it's not looking good. I unfortunately think the good old thieves' adage of liquefy whatever you can and don't worry about the sacrilege of destroying shit is probably in play here, and we're all worse off for it.
Belonging to Empress Eugenie, wife of Napoleon III, an emerald necklace and a pair of emerald earrings from Empress Marie Louise, a tiara, necklace, and single earring from the sapphire set that belonged to Queen Mary Amélie and Queen Hortense, and a brooch known as the Reliquary brooch. So these are France's crown jewels, which of course they have no use for anymore, and so they're kept in a museum for everyone to look at. Until recently. Because the pieces are too famous, they probably can't be fenced, and because this has happened more than a day ago now, the pieces have probably been destroyed, as in broken up, to be melted down or carved into new shapes or something like that, so they can be laundered through other means, which is mad when you think about it. That's just France's crown jewels, probably gone forever. It would be miraculous if they haven't, for some reason, already destroyed them.
Yeah,
so the question is, who is responsible for
it offends my artistic sensibilities on a level that I'm not even sure I can articulate properly. Like, again, this is a crime against all humanity. There is something of unique beauty and value that we will never, in all likelihood, ever see again because some hoodlums decided, you know what? Fuck the actual historical value of these, and fuck the beauty and unique, like categorical value of these. We're just gonna reduce them to their raw materials and sell them for scrap because I guess we need. I don't even know if the French have like mortgage payments and shit, but like just everything about this pisses me off. Everything about this is an affront to everything I've ever cared about and everything I've ever aspired to. And may the ghost of Napoleon fucking come back and retake the throne for this exact reason, because that is the correct response to this bullshit. Oh, holy fucking shit.
I mean, there are still people of royal blood alive in France, but they don't have a monarchy anymore. And see, there's never going to be pieces of this significance in the future because of that. And even if they were to reinstill a monarchy now, for it to have even nearly the same historical value, it would take centuries. Definitely not in our lifetime.
Yeah, like Napoleon's ghost needs to come back with an army of ghosts like fucking Lord of the Rings and just reclaim the throne because fuck this bullshit entirely. Something of unique value and worth and immense historical significance just up in flames because some punter needed mortgage payments or some shit.
for this? It's not like the Louvre hasn't been robbed before. It has several times. But in the modern day, when security is such a possibility, when we have all of the technology in the world to make sure that we can record every single person going in and out, have all sorts of electronic gadgets protecting the works of art and the historic pieces, who is responsible for this? Well, this has been going around Twitter for a while now, and it appears that it is correct. These are indeed the two people in charge of security at the Louvre. The museum's first female head of security and the museum's... These are...
The
Do they look
female
like?
gender is not sending their best, and it offends me.
Yeah, like I gotta be honest with you. This is gonna sound incredibly sexist, and almost certainly is. But I'm willing to bet if if they had a man in charge, this shit probably would not have happened. Because I believe it goes on to say that they actually lowered the standard of security in the Louvre.
To me, that's the more offensive thing. If a woman makes it to the top of the heap on merit and actually is the, French Ronda Rousey, Karen Murphy from Dresden Files, Ripley from Aliens, or Sarah Connor from Terminator type, all the more power to her as far as I'm concerned. But when you explicitly forbid meritocracy because it's some sort of ideologically forbidden, harmful delusion we have to deprogram out of all of our institutions, and you literally just give it to what appear to be two French HR hags that have somehow been given the security clearance. That to me, it's not that no woman could ever make it to the top of the heap. It's that we're not even selecting for those. We are explicitly going against merit
Are
because merit
indeed the
offends our
two
ideological sensibilities, and it pisses me off.
people in charge of security at the Louvre: the museum's first female head of security and the museum's first female director. Both of them DEI hires. Absolutely, it seems to be true. Moreover, these changes are pretty damn recent. In 2023, the New York Times did a puff piece on Laurence Descartes, who is now the director of the Louvre, and she decided she was going to overhaul the museum because it was just too stuffy and elitist. As France 24 reported,
It's the Louvre.
It's supposed to be meritocratic. I also have issues with elitism, but the thing is, what you're calling elitism is probably actually just meritocracy. You know that classic French line of liberté, égalité, fraternité? That shit is merit and meritocracy, not elitism. If you were saying we
Honest,
should bring back the aristocracy, that would be elitism. When it's populist meritocracy in nature, please leave it the fuck alone.
but I gotta say though, Dolan, some places should be a bit more pompous than the rest. Like the Louvre, like it should have like a like a sort of air
Grandeur
of
to it, yes.
to it. Yeah, it should have a sense of grandeur and elitism. If I if I'm in England and I decide to visit Oxford University and I go there and it looks like a community college, honestly, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah, being that as it may, my issue here is they're calling something elitist when in actuality all it is meritocratic. Like the things displayed in the Louvre are displayed in the Louvre because they are uniquely possessed of value to basically all of mankind. I mean, there's a reason why the Mona Lisa is hanging there, despite the fact that the Mona Lisa is, of course, an Italian work. It's because the things that make it to the Louvre on the intrinsic merits thereof. But what I just said is apparently ideologically verboten because we're supposed to operate as though meritocracy is just a subjective, harmful delusion that we have to deprogram out of civilization. And just fuck all that noise. And no, you don't get away with it by calling something that is simply meritocratic elitist. It's not. It's just merit. It's just meritocracy. And meritocracy
How
did absolutely nothing wrong.
how could it be like too elitist though? It's not like it's a palace; it's a freaking museum. Millions of people visit it to see the pieces literally every year.
Yeah,
Like, what
and
was so elitist that it was stopping the common person from enjoying it?
if I, especially given the whole bloody repeated revolutions y'all had over there in France, I'm pretty sure any remaining elitism is just a universal elitism that all French people have against non-French people, hence the French arrogance stereotype. But that's an all-pervasive, the French are better than everyone else attitude. That's populist pride. That's not aristocratic elitism. And I really wish I really wish I could have seen those crown jewels if I ever made enough money to go and visit France and made it to the Louvre. I would want to see something like that. But guess I'm never getting to because fuck me, that's why, I guess.
Let's continue.
Yep.
To counter its elitist image, the museum will strive for a cultural democratization to make its treasures more accessible with improved presentation, labeling, curating. And we'll
Y'all already did that. Y'all were very, very specific about already doing that like 5 or 6 different times over the course of the 18th century. This was very explicitly a thing you've already done multiple times. You could not possibly democratize it any more than you already have.
What the hell does cultural democratization even mean in this context?
Again, as far as I'm concerned, all meritocratic pretension that democratization have already repeatedly been enforced at the point of a fucking guillotine blade. Y'all were very specific about this back in the day. I'm not sure it's possible to democratize this anymore other than by lowering meritocratic standards, which is a bad idea. Like, I'm as populist and as anti-elitist as they come, but meritocracy is a universal standard, not an elitist one. Anyone with merit is eligible under a meritocracy. That is not elitist, that is meritocratic. The only people you're discriminating against in a meritocracy are the people without merit, and far be it from me to be a bit of a pompous git here, but the people without merit deserve to suffer, frankly. Fuck them. Get merit. In the immortal words of the Gamers Credo, get good to scrub.
Accessible with improved presentation, labeling, curating. And we'll get back to that improved presentation very shortly. She did an interview earlier this year in which the interviewer asked, "Is security a very big issue for you?" And she replied, "A museum today is a very complex organization. We need to protect the works, but also the people working and our visitors. In the world of today, half the staff of the Louvre is dedicated to security. For any public place in the world, this is a very serious responsibility, and we take that very seriously. The new project will be designed with all the prescriptions in terms of security and new technologies also dedicated to it."
Translation, no, and I find it discriminatory that I even have to enforce it. So we're lowering the standards because I find them ideologically objectionable. Fuck this bitch so hard.
It doesn't matter if the full staff of the Louvre was dedicated to security. If it's all a bunch of incompetents, it's not going to matter. And apparently it didn't freaking matter because they broke in, threatened the security, and stole the pieces.
And now some ancient treasures that we will never see the like of again in the light of day are being destroyed and reduced to their raw materials so that some punter who probably has only enough skill to get into your average K Jewelers or Zales managed to punk the entire French nation, not to mention the whole rest of the world. Because again, as a Francophile who very much would have liked to have seen these, I and the thousands of people who will come after me throughout the course of humanity's history will never get to see these because y'all thought that ideology and not discriminating against people without merit was more important than preserving things of unique merit. Fuck this bitch so hard. We'll have to come up with a whole new pressure scale for how hard this bitch deserves to be fucked.
Well, that worked out well, didn't it? And that makes it about 1,000 people in the Louvre who are dedicated to security. And still, this was possible. And you've got to remember that last year it was becoming apparent that there was a problem with gender equality in museums in France. This is a really big issue. I mean, not enough women are in charge of museums in France. A study published
well, then
on March
maybe
the 6th, 2024.
Women should get good to scrub. Maybe that. Maybe instead of elevating women that don't fucking deserve it, instead of taking the random corporate HR hag and giving her a security badge, we could, in fact, if we want more women in this job, look for the French equivalent of Karen Murphy or Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley. They probably do exist, and we would be much better off with them than without them. So if you want women who are good at the job, all the more power to you. But I will not stand for lowering the standards on the basis that meritocracy is some kind of mass delusion, and then watch as the HR hags sit idly by while incomprehensibly brilliant treasures are destroyed and sold for scrap. Fuck you, no. Either women should get good or women should not be eligible for the standard.
But the Ministry of Culture shows that a rebalancing is underway, but the efforts remain to be made, particularly financial ones, progressing but room for improvement. By 2024, subsidized artistic creation organizations will have, on average, 38% of women in management positions, the highest proportion since 2021. And that's just not good enough. We need more women, because they're women. 65% of national museums are headed by women. And this is no longer an incongruity, acknowledges Lorenz Descartes, whose arrival at the helm of the Louvre in 2021 had the effect of a revolution. And because the feminization of recruitment...
No, it is. It's still an incongruity. It just happens to be an incongruity that you benefit from. But I'm gonna be the stereotypical MRA when I say this. We don't define what's morally good by simply what benefits the most women. Nor should we. If women want these positions, they should get good scrub. And if they don't want these positions, there are other positions with lower fucking thresholds to entry that they can easily attain.
Well, Dalton, continue to read the article. And because the feminization of recruitment is important to her, the head of the world's largest museum has appointed a woman, Dominic Buffin, to head the highly strategic reception and surveillance department. So it was literally not about merit at all. She openly stated so herself.
Yeah, no, fuck this bitch with the intensity of the pressure at the bottom of the fucking ocean entirely. Like, if I may be so bold, maybe this is a moment where getting out the guillotine would be such a terrible thing, considering that irreplaceable treasures have been destroyed on this bitch's say-so for explicitly stated feminization reasons. Maybe instead of culturally weaponizing borderline personality disorder like we've been doing for the last 15 years or so, we should go back to the good old internet standby of weaponized autism. Because shit like this doesn't happen when we weaponize autism. Shit like this only happens when we weaponize female navel-gazing borderline personality disorder having pathology. I don't want to be controversial, but if this isn't a perfect example of why weaponized autism is based and weaponized BPD is the most cringe thing in the known universe, I don't know what is.
Like, it's always the same type of people, like these middle-aged, bitter, miserable women that put
HR hags.
literally above all else because it's literally the only thing that they have in their miserable lives. And the rest of us have to suffer.
Because my sacred vag makes me better than any man, no matter how meritocratic he is. Because reasons.
I want to see this woman excoriated in the press. Like, I want to see her, like, just thrown out on her fucking ass.
I would go slightly further than that. I'm full on guillotines ? At this point. Like, I can put up with a lot of really heinous shit, but when you destroy one of a kind art pieces for no other reason than HR haggery, no, fuck it. Get the guillotine. It's necessary. We're doing this. We have to for the good of the species.
I would be a little bit cautious on that, Dalton, because you know the French. Once they start with the guillotine, they never stop at one.
True, but how many HR hags are befouling France's institutions and, in fact, broader Europe's institutions in general? Maybe there are enough HR hags that have destroyed large swathes of civilization that getting out the guillotine would be a good course of action at this point.
Start with the Immigration Bureau.
I mean, it's it's not a terrible idea.
Recruitment is important to her. The head of the world's largest museum has appointed a woman, Dominique Buffin, to head the highly strategic reception and surveillance department. A first. She was literally a feminist DEI hire, hired because she's a woman, by a woman, because she's trying to edge men out of those jobs. It's literally that. And the funny thing about this article is, this is not good enough. The next headline is, we can be equal but not fair. 3 out of 5 presidential positions in public broadcasting companies are also held by women, but only 15% of the top 100 companies in the cultural sectors have a woman at their helm, a figure that has stagnated for 3 years. Oh well.
Giving women special treatment solely because they're women is not equality, you ideologically feminist bitches. Equality would be letting anyone who fits the standards of merit have those positions, which does, yes, include any woman who can fit the, like, Karen Murphy, Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley mold. I would be glad to have them. Find me the French equivalent of Ronda Rousey and make her the head of the security system. Why not? But if you're explicitly saying that we should abolish meritocracy because it makes the women feel bad, no, fuck you. The answer is either get good and rise to the top of the ranks like everyone the fuck else who's ever risen to the top of the ranks, or find something else to do that hopefully won't destroy society quite so much, please.
I'd be interested to know who hired this female director in the first place, because did they hear her ideas for the museum, and also were they fucking high?
Yeah, a male feminist. I would stake what remains of my life on it. It's probably an ideologically possessed gynocentric feminist type, or an ideologically possessed gynocentric traditionalist type who thinks women can do no wrong, because horseshoe theory be operating like it do. This whole women can do whatever they want and men can't do anything they want under any circumstances thing. We probably should be redressing this balance at some point. Women are angels under every circumstance, and men are demons no matter how much they work to see themselves as good people. Yeah, no, fuck that noise entirely. This is one of the reasons I am an MRA, because that bullshit ruins everything it touches, no matter if it's traditionalism or feminism or just basic bitch coffee shop-ism.
Well, better put more women in charge of the security at the Louvre. What about the other museums? Surely they need women in charge of the security there too. So look at Dominique Buffin. She looks very serious. She's the woman who's going to protect the most visited museum in the world, and never before has a woman held this highly strategic position. But she's been...
Perhaps with good reason.
Yeah, if you can't find me a badass, French Ronda Rousey, I don't want her in charge of this position. You should. It's just like with the military. You should not lower the standards of merit to admit more women. You should just be open to any women that can already pass the fucking standards. They exist. And frankly, most actual badass women that I know or have known hate this feminist bullshit too, for pretty much exactly the same reason as I do, which is it ruins everything it touches and destroys any semblance of meritocracy. Women with actual merit and skills to their names actually pride themselves on those skills and those merits, just like all the men with skills and merits tend to favor meritocracy. The only men that don't are the weak little effeminate champagne socialist hipster douchebags with trust funds who have never had any merit to speak of in their entire fucking lives.
Hit and play.
Yep.
She's been working hard over the years, and she's more than capable of the job. At 45, Dominique Buffin is no novice. For 2 decades, she has quietly climbed the ranks of intelligence and security. Over the past 6 months, as deputy director, she has undergone an accelerated apprenticeship at the Louvre under her predecessor, Denis Fous.
So they
It's been an
literally
opportunity to test her
fast-tracked an
composure.
HR hag because of ideological conformity, and fuck the merit. Guillotines. I'm seeing nothing but guillotines behind my eyes. I am fucking manifesting guillotines as hard as I possibly fucking can here. The time has come for the heads will roll to not be a metaphor anymore. God damn it.
Yeah. Fast jerked in by someone who's almost certainly a male feminist.
Yep. I mean, the French are the people who gave us Charles Fourier, the original philosopher of feminism, and Simone de Beauvoir, who was essentially his apprentice. So the guy, for those that don't know, Charles Fourier was the guy who said, in absence of Christian morality in the new age of enlightenment, we should judge the quality of civilizations based on how well they treat women. Not people, not humans, but specifically women. And the world was plunged into 1,000 fucking years of darkness by that one idea alone.
Whirlwind. Might I suggest she probably wasn't quite ready for the job? Now, it's very easy for me, who's got no responsibility to protect the Louvre from robberies, to sit back and go, well, who could have imagined? But really, well, who could have imagined? People are cynically accusing her of being a diversity hire because she obviously is.
Because reality exists.
But that's obviously...
Just, like, when you call a spade and the spade gets offended because it wants to be a shovel, I'm afraid it is still a spade.
I mean, she can whinge about this all she wants, but like the very own story about how she even got the position in the first place just shows that she was in fact a diversity hire.
And again, all the women with merit to speak of, just like all the men with merit to speak of, hate this fucking shit. I'm sure women wish there were women in charge who could show that women were capable and competent and skilled, just like everyone the fuck else. Because, again, it seems rather universal that people with merit have no problem with being judged on those merits, and people without merit narcissistically whinge because merit is unfair because reasons.
The case. She was chosen because she was a woman. And the thing is, this all seems to be part of like a general modernization effort to make things look worse and function worse than they used to. In 2019, the treasures in the Louvre used to be kept in these gorgeous armored glass cases that if they were disturbed, they would drop down into a sealed chest, into a sealed safe, and they were replaced with these modern...
Okay, that's the kind of security that I would be expecting from the Louvre.
Yeah, even the cases are in and of themselves a work of art, which frankly, in the fucking Louvre, they fucking should be, for the love of all that is holy. Like, this is just... I am a broken record when it comes to my hatred for postmodernism and modernism in general. The, like, IKEAification of every fucking thing in society. And how much I
was just about to say that. It looks like some shit from IKEA, the new cases do.
Yeah, and this is your society on modernism. everything is sleek and nothing has any style, substance, or artistic or just general value in general. This is why I love maximalism, because it is the exact antidote to this. Like gothic gargoyles and baroque art and art deco, all of those in some combination look infinitely better than this shit. There's a
Also,
reason why there's such a trend now for the style of like dark academia. It's because we all grew up on movies like the 1995 Casper or the Harry Potter series or any other, story with like mystical castles and shit, and we all grew up aspiring to that aesthetic because that aesthetic actually has some merit behind it. But instead, no, everything under the sun looks like it's assembled from IKEA. Our society is IKEAfied, and I hate it.
also, look at the cases. The one on the left, the previous one with the higher level of security and the more well-designed case is also cordoned off, while the newer cases are not cordoned off.
It's almost like the cordons were there for a fucking reason because we didn't want people to just be able to nick them like they're shoplifting from a grocery store.
Like, even if they wanted to change out the design of the case, they should at least have served the same purpose and function. Like, if the jewels are disturbed, drop them down into a secure area.
Yeah, but the old cases are a perfect example of why style and substance are not opposing things, but in fact contingent on each other. There's an old alchemical phrase, separation precedes conjunction and form follows function, and you can literally see the like intersubjective or objective merits in the one case, and the other case is devoid of anything resembling merit, be it stylistic, aesthetic merit, or functional merit. This is your civilization on IKEAization, and I hate it.
Modern displays, which are just normal glass.
Normal glass.
It's
Not,
not
not
as
even
though
resistant
it
glass.
being durable beyond the rigors of normal glass is in any way important to these incredibly valued treasures that the Louvre is expected to be the custodian of.
Like, this is the most insane thing. You can't even have like shatterproof resistant glass on these valuable pieces. Like, just it didn't just make it uglier. They made it less safe.
And what
Like,
and what was wrong with the like pressure sensors or movement sensors too, so that if anyone does fuck with the case, it automatically calls the Jadams in and gets them in their SWAT gear. Because in a better world, that would have been the punchline to this story. These two assholes, or I don't know how many assholes, these assholes go in, try to swipe the crown jewels, and on the way out, they're met with a, SWAT team's worth of big burly guys going, oh, ho, ho, I think not, mon frere. And then get taken, and then the jewels get returned. And then we all laugh at these incompetent morons for trying to be, like, bargain basement jewel thieves. But no, in today's day and age, we can't even have the competent security go in and go, oh ho ho, I think not, mein frere. It's just oh, you want to steal these? Well, have a nice day. It's not like we'll be needing those at any point in the near future.
yeah, the thing is, even us who have no background in, event or the security of precious items, could have come up with a better security system than this woman who supposedly had years of experience and was hand trained by some male feminist idiot.
Hell, anyone who's ever so much as seen the movies we were talking about earlier, the Ocean's 11, the Mission Impossible, the National Treasures, everyone who's ever seen a heist movie or even something adjacent to a heist movie could probably come up um with better security protocols simply on the basis of a lot of us just assume those kind of security systems are automatically in place. And honestly, I think that was what the diversity hags were banking on. I think they were banking on, well, everyone obviously assumes we have this place locked down like Fort Knox, and the sheer just like security theater of it will prevent anyone from trying this. Well, for every person who will just go about their day assuming that the necessary securities are already in place, you'll get the occasional drunk idiot getting drunk with his mates at a pub somewhere and going, you know what? I wonder if we actually did try to do that, what would happen? And unfortunately, instead of the aforesaid, they try it and then immediately get BTFO'd by some French security teams, they succeeded because the security systems were so laughably incompetent that no one could have even conceived of just how easy it would be to do this. And I'm honestly wondering what happens now. Like how many copycats are we going to get before they smarten up and do like enforce security properly? Cuz it wouldn't surprise me if people tried to copycat this bullshit and started going after more valuable things like the Mona Lisa and shit.
Well, the Mona Lisa has been stolen before.
Yes, and mercifully it's always been returned. I can't say the same for the Napoleonic imperial jewels though, and it stings every part. Every part of me that has any love of the finer things in life just is weeping with unspeakable rage right now.
Oh, we have a fan in the comments. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. My apologies, but oh there, Final Fantasy fan 12. How's it going?
Ah,
But
I I happen to know him. He and I sometimes show up on the Real Millennials together over on Spacey Wolf Squadron's channel.
oh, cool. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
But it's getting to be about that
glad to
time.
see
So
someone finally followed my recommendations for this channel. I always try to hype this channel and Podcast of the Storm whenever I go on anything, and hardly anyone ever actually follows it, unfortunately. Anyway,
we're glad to have you here, man.
moving back to the just destruction of everything I hold dear.
Why would you do that? Like, what would be the point? A, they're far uglier. They don't match the decor that the pieces are surrounded in. And B, like, this is just grim, right? Why make things less beautiful and less useful at the same time? No one
Because
forced you
marriage
to
is a
do this.
harmful social
Anyway,
delusion, don't you know, Sargon? That's the like modernist line we're supposed to follow. Because heaven forfend we suggest there might be objective bases for merit or anything.
Yeah.
Guillotines.
For the love of
Guillotines all
God,
the way down. Guillotines are the only solution.
it should be beautiful and functional. But at the very least, if you won't make it beautiful, at the very least make it functional.
Instead of the HR hag solution of how about neither, apparently.
Yeah. But I'm gonna keep an eye on this in the coming days just to see like what the fallout of this is because there's almost certainly going to be inquiries about this and updates to the investigation. Hopefully, if they can't at the very least recover the pieces, at least I hope they can track down and arrest the people who did it, even if they've already destroyed the jewelry.
I hope some good Samaritan rich person buys all this shit off them and then like helps the Louvre people reconstruct them from the remaining materials, because that would be the closest thing to a happy ending here. Is these people try to be opportunistic little shits, and the French people come together and restore their imperial jewels to their something resembling their former glory. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but that would be the good ending. That would be the restores faith in humanity ending.
Possibly, but you would have to assume that somebody would be willing to, with the infamy of the heist now, that someone would be willing to risk their freedom and buy these pieces that are obviously going to be one of a kind and very distinct.
Honestly, though, if they did that, fuck it, give the guy a medal, especially if they're buying them back just to hand them back over. Like that is the
Yeah,
kind of service to the French people that does genuinely deserve a medal if that were to happen.
we can only hope at this point.
Yeah,
So
faith
it's going to be
faith
about
in
that time. Do you have
humanity
any final
slowly
thoughts?
draining here.
Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't know who stole this. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea, but I hope there is a hell for you to go to, because this kind of active destruction of something so singularly beautiful and valuable and edifying to the human spirit, if I were in charge of the universe, there would be a special hell for people like you.
Yeah. I can only hope that the French people, and most specifically the directors of the Louvre, fire the current director and security director, and replace them with people who have a far more sensitive, one, aesthetic, and two, sense of care for the products, for the items that are supposed to be under their care.
I'm sure Victor Hugo is spinning in his grave. For those that don't know, Victor Hugo explicitly wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame because the French revolutionaries, the Reign of Terror folks, were destroying all the churches, and he didn't want to see Notre Dame be permanently destroyed. And he actually led um, awareness raising for something resembling a reconstruction effort by writing Hunchback of Notre Dame. And if the soul of the city is the toll of the bells of Notre Dame, I would say the Louvre is probably the heart and soul of Notre Dame, like, or rather of Paris in general and France in particular. And Victor Hugo should be rolling in his grave, as should every actually patriotic Frenchman in human fucking history. We should we should all be ashamed that this was allowed to happen.
Yeah. Everybody, I've been Mr. E.
I have been Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator, and we have been the Duality of Men. Au revoir.
Goodbye, everybody.